So welcome everyone to a conversation with the Greater Manchester Nutrition and Hydration Programme. My name is Emma Smith. I'm the project manager with Empowered Conversations.
Hi, I'm Martin Hazelhurst. I'm the Salford manager for the Greater Manchester Nutrition Hydration Programme, and I'll tell you more about us in a minute.
Thank you, Martin. And we both work for Age UK Salford, but in very different parts. So Empowered Conversations deliver communication courses for family carers and also for professionals across Greater Manchester. We also have one-to-one support with Empowered Carers, that's just in Salford. And for the last year and a half, we've been doing things like these webinars, we've been running discos, we've been having singing groups, you name it, we've put lots of things in just to provide people affected by dementia with an opportunity to connect, share and engage in something that's a little bit different. So I don't even know how many webinars we've done, Martin, but this is our last webinar before the summer holiday. So I'm delighted that we're sharing it with you. If you haven't been on a webinar before, I'm sure you have by now, but if you haven't, you shouldn't see yourself. It is just me and Martin, so sorry about that. At the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A function. So if you have any questions at any point, you can just pop them into the Q&A. Don't worry about writing them down. Just pop them into the Q&A. And what we'll do is Martin will deliver his talk. And then at the end, we're going to have a lovely Q&A session where we can get into all those questions. So anytime you want to, get them in there. And I think we'll make a start, Martin, if that's okay.
Okay, thanks very much. I'm going to share the screen with my presentation. It worked 10 minutes ago, so let's see if it works now. Okay, everyone? Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? Okay, thanks very much. I'm going to start by saying a bit about us. We are the Greater Manchester Nutrition and Hydration Programme. Although the banner at the top is mostly Salford, we're actually have been working since 2018 across Greater Manchester. Directly, we are currently have contracts to work in Bury, Bolton, Trafford and Salford, but we still retain a certain amount of interest and contact with people across the other boroughs. Our role started in response to concerns about the incidence of undernourishment and dehydration in older people. It was felt that that was given less attention than the problems of obesity, and yet was actually a greater incidence of undernourishment in older people than obesity. The work started in 2015 in Salford, and there's something I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. But in 2018, it stretched across Greater Manchester and continues in some of the boroughs. Our work is about raising awareness of the problems of undernourishment and dehydration. It's about training people. We've trained over 2,000 frontline staff over the last 3 years about how to respond and how to recognise undernourishment and dehydration. And we also try to work on a more strategic level with adult social care and parts of the NHS to get them to improve their systems and their responses to undernourishment. So it's a wide-ranging brief. Our work hasn't just been about older people with dementia, it's been about all older people. And but a lot of what I'm going to tell you today is relevant to all older people, but then other parts of what I'm talking about will have a particular focus on working with people with dementia. I appreciate that the audience, that you out there who I can't see, which is very, very disconcerting, are coming from a range of backgrounds. Either you are caring for someone with dementia, or you're a professional, perhaps in care homes or in other fields where you have contact with people with dementia. I hope that what I'm going to say is relevant to everyone, and it is quite focused on working with individual people, but I'm sure that will be relevant whatever your setting. So what I'm going to talk about is why might someone with dementia experience problems with eating and drinking? You probably know a lot of this. They might forget to eat, experience difficulties preparing food if that's what they're still doing, have difficulty recognizing food, have change in appetite, have difficulty expressing hunger or thirst, and various other things. But I also want to draw attention to that one of the critical issues that we come across in all our work has been the quality of mouth care that older people have, and some of the difficulties eating in particular are very often caused by either teeth or dentures not fitting properly, or teeth not very good. So there's that, and I'm going to talk a bit about swallowing difficulties as well. Okay. There was one other thing I was going to say at the start was I do feel a little bit humble here because we are public health practitioners. I am not a nutritionist, although the other two of the other three members of my team are nutritionists, and we get help from them. And we have a clinical reference group from Salford Royal and other places in Salford to help us, guide us. So in a way, I'm thinking that you are the experts, and I hope that when we come to have question and answer and discussion, that not that a lot of the things I'll be talking about will be ideas, and I'm hoping that we can get lots of other ideas to overcome the problems that people experience. First of all, why should we focus on malnutrition? We know that 1 in 3 older people who are 65 or over are at risk of malnutrition. We know that at least 20% of older people are dehydrated when they come to get to hospital. We know there are many health difficulties and well-being difficulties caused by undereating in terms of longer time recovering from illness. All the research suggests that about 1 million older people in the UK are malnourished or at risk of malnutrition. And one of the statistics that we always use is that actually the cost of malnutrition and dehydration to the NHS is actually greater than the cost of obesity, which is given a lot more focus and attention. Dehydration is simple, it's fluid loss. Thirst is the first sign of dehydration. We're mildly dehydrated by the time we feel thirsty. However, we also know that people who are older, and particularly people who have Alzheimer's, the sense of thirst is one of the first things to go. But the signs are very clear: confusion, nausea, dizziness, very much an increase in UTIs and other things. Often people say to us that, particularly with people with dementia, that it's difficult to differentiate between the effects of their Alzheimer's or their dementia and the fact that they're dehydrated. What we would say is if someone actually shows a steep decline in their alertness, their awareness, their energy levels, it could easily be because of dehydration. Signs of malnutrition on the right is our slightly distorted older man. That's not quite right. But some of the signs are obvious. Some of the signs are visual. I've lost weight, loose dentures, loose clothes, loose belts, loose shoes, loose rings, thin arms or legs. Very often things which are quite obvious to see, but sometimes not so obvious. I worked with the audiology clinic in Rochdale a while ago, and they told me that one of the things they ask when someone comes saying that their hearing aid doesn't fit anymore, one of the things they ask is about their appetite and their eating, because a loose hearing aid can be a sign that someone has lost weight. We also recommend that the best way of finding out about people's appetite is to ask them. People sometimes say, I've lost weight without trying, I feel tired, it's difficult for me to do things, it's difficult to cook, I find it hard, and all kinds of signs and symptoms. So one of the things we do with in training is actually just encourage people to have conversations about appetite. more than they have been perhaps been doing in the past. I want to just show you a paperweight armband, or I would if I hadn't lost it, but never mind. The paperweight armband was actually the foundation of our programme. It was developed in Salford in 2015 and is just a strip of paper. But it's a strip of paper with a sticky bit on one end and a red line you can see on the other. And we use it and we encourage people to use it if they are concerned that people might be malnourished or suffering from malnutrition. It goes around someone's upper arm. If it joins and moves up and down, it's a sure sign that someone is undernourished. I feel contractually bound to mention it in any presentation I do because it was the foundation of what we do. If you are concerned about someone and want to check, then certainly there are paperweight armbands I can let you have. In groups, I often use it as a way of starting conversation and to identify people who might be malnourished. But that's paperweight armband. Okay, what I want to talk about is how can you help someone with dementia eat better? I'm going to talk about setting the scene for mealtimes. I want about encouraging a person with dementia to eat, encouraging a person with dementia to drink, about the importance of the store cupboard when people working with people. I'm going to talk about fortifying food, which is again one of the core messages that we give to people who are trying to put on weight, and I'm going to talk about swallowing difficulties. I have to say that there's no magic here. A lot of it is common sense, a lot of it is just ideas that people have had, and people will be affected differently, and different approaches might work better for some people than others, and also work one day and not the next. But later on, I hope we can spend some time sharing ideas that you have and you've experienced and you've tried that have worked in helping people who might be having difficulty eating or have a low appetite, and has helped them to improve their food intake. So what we know about helping people is about setting the scene for mealtimes, avoiding distractions, soothing music help, be flexible about meal times, avoiding times the person is tired. It is just thinking about the best times when people might be able to eat more, and give time, lots of time for people to eat. What we know is that if you eat with other people, you eat more. And this is was particularly clear when before the pandemic, when we used to spend a lot of time going round to day centres and lunch clubs, and just sitting and eating with people. And many people I met there said, "Oh, I never eat anything. I have a very small appetite. I can't be bothered." And then they might be tucking into a full dinner at the lunch club. And I think that the idea of eating with other people is critical to helping people eat. Eating on your own is never as good. But we're told that the best thing is to make sure there is well lit, describe the food, help people recognise food, and keep the table free, and so people can concentrate on food. Very simple advice. One of the things that one of the key messages we give to people who are not eating so much is don't try. Don't try to eat 3 big meals every day. Don't try to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner, or breakfast, dinner and tea if you come from Rochdale like me. Smaller meals, 6 smaller meals are just as good and just as nutritional, and probably better because you're going to manage them. So don't get stuck into thinking that there are particular meal times. We're told that people to be flexible. Someone who has a sweet tooth might like to eat dessert first. I put that in there because I remember my mother, who had Alzheimer's, who had been a confectioner and cake maker all her life, and her whole family just ate cakes. And when she was quite disabled by Alzheimer's, she would have cakes for every meal. We didn't care. We just carried on giving her cakes, and it seemed to keep her okay. So sweet food is often what people want. Crisps and chocolates before a meal to see if the person helps the person realize they're hungry. So if you eat, just try something before a meal, and that helps people think, oh, I am hungry. I want to eat some food, and use different tastes, smells, and colours to stimulate appetite. I've not included it in this presentation, but there is, I'm sure you know a lot of advice about the appearance of food is vitally important. We recommend specially adapted crockery and cutlery. You may have some of this, or people you work with may using some. A particular interest is the colour of plates, and what's important is the contrast between the food, the colour of the food, and the colour of the plate. It helps people be able to see it better, to distinguish between the two and recognise what it is on their plate. So that's why many adaptive plates are blue, because there's very little blue food. In fact, I can't think of many blue foods. So that is often used by a lot of people to help in distinguishing the food. We recommend, and this is something we talk about a lot with older people, not necessarily people with dementia, but people living on their own. But if someone with dementia is still living on their own, and this has been particularly important during the pandemic, when people have had difficulty getting out shopping, access to foods not being the way it is, and we have a booklet which is available about recipes for things with using things you probably have in your cupboard, and we have a video on YouTube which you can find on the UK Salford website, YouTube channel, which is about cooking meals with food that's in the cupboard. We recommend ready meals as a really good way of helping for people who either can't or haven't got the motivation to cook. Ready meals are very often, good ready meals are nutritious. Good ready meals give you a lot of the nutrients that you need. We do support the work of people like Wiltshire Farm Foods and Oak House Foods, who provide very, very, very substantial, but also they also produce meals in different sizes, so you could have a small meal and a large meal from their menu. Always check people's cupboards and fridges to check for out-of-date food. Keep stocked with snacks and tinned or frozen food that are easy to repair. Again, you can see our video on Age UK Salford. We talk about fortifying food. This is another key message for people who need to get more calories, more protein, more nutrition from a smaller amount of food. So fortifying food is just adding things to food to increase the calorie and protein content. So add butter, cream, grated cheese, mayonnaise, salad, all kinds of things which you can use. Adding sugar and ice cream, custard, double cream to sweet food. Also, we recommend adding fortified milk. So one of the ways that we have given, the advice we've given to people is you can get far more from milk. First of all, by using full fat milk and not skimmed and semi-skimmed milk, but also adding tablespoons of skimmed milk powder to milk increases its value even more. Our original program was evaluated by Manchester University, And part of that research was recruiting people who were underweight, who wanted to put on some weight, and we gave them advice. We showed them our materials, our booklets, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then the researcher weighed them and then went back 3 months later. What was remarkable to us, although we were very pleased about it, was that 80% of the people who we'd recruited for the research actually stabilized their weight or put on weight during that period. And one of the things that most of those people did was to fortify milk and drink more milk. And that was, in some cases, that was the only thing they did. People did other things as well. There was a lady in Rochdale who decided that her way of putting on weight was to eat peanut butter from the jar, and she put on 3 kilos in 12 weeks. So be careful of peanut butter if you don't want to put on weight, is my message. But it was lots. We just gave them information about how they could increase the calorie and protein that they received, and and fortifying milk was an important part of that. Oh, what else? We can talk about that later. I've included this. This is a small A4 poster that we have available, which if anyone was interested in receiving one, I can make sure you get one. We originally designed it for care home kitchens to put up, and it's just showing you how many more calories you can get from food by adding fats of a different kind to it. So it gives you calories before, calories after, and on the left hand side how many calories there are in different foods. I guess it's just as useful if you're trying to lose weight, if when you realize that how much calories are in butter and how many but we designed it principally to help people who want to put on weight. So if anyone interested in receiving one of these, let Emma know, I guess, and I can make sure that you get them. This was one of the places we worked with in Bury was a care home called Rose Court, and they did great work at making mealtimes more attractive, about helping people enjoy their food more, but also being very creative. And some of the things that they tried was having snack boxes where residents who walk around a lot could carry around and eat as they were going. They would have sausage roll and flapjacks and all kinds of things in them that were high calorie snacks. Food preparation, smoothies and pizzas can be enjoyed. Again, things that smoothies in particular, I think are great things both for hydration and nutrition. But there are lots of things they did. They staggered meal times to enhance the mealtime experience, and they also introduced just a very simple thing of those residents who woke up early were offered toast and cereal straight away before their larger breakfast, and that's something that a lot of us do routinely. We get up, we wake up, we're getting ready for work, we eat toast and cereal, but it was a way of making sure people had food as soon as they woke up, and then they had specific care plans following an illness. One of the other things that our research, our evaluation identified was that in many cases, and in a majority of the cases that we of the volunteers that we got to take part in the research had started to lose weight after some kind of trauma, whether that was illness, whether that was bereavement, whether it was an accident, whether it was moving house into a home. There was a very clear link between people starting to lose appetite and some illness or trauma. The other thing, finally, at Rose Court was they had wine and cheese party, afternoon teas, food and food from around the world. I just threw that in just as some ideas. A person with dementia probably often doesn't realise that they're thirsty. So it's up to us to make sure that they get their 6 to 8 drinks a day, which is the recommended level. 6 to 8 glasses, half pint mug types glasses is the recommended amount per day for good hydration. So make sure they have a drink. Make sure that you can, if they don't like water or tea, then add squash. Offer a choice. Help person pick up. Provide special drinking cups. Have ice lollies and soups and milkshakes are really good for hydration, as well as very high water content food like watermelon, like cucumber, like all things which are lots of fruits, and jellies, creamy sauce, and custard and extra milk were also. So the message there is if someone doesn't want to drink out of a cup, has difficulty drinking out of a cup, there are lots of other ways of getting hydration. Here's just a few of the drinks that we recommend: smoothies, milkshakes, creamy coffee with sugar or not sugar, but also whole milk and whipped cream on top. Great for both nutrition and hydration. And hot chocolate, another great drink. Just a little bit about swallowing difficulties. Difficulties swallowing are obviously a barrier to eating well or eating at all in some cases. There are lots of signs that people might have swallowing difficulties, both the obvious ones like not swallowing food, like keeping food in the mouth, like coughing and choking, but also loss of interest in food, problems taking medication, and so always be aware of how well people are swallowing. If people have swallowing difficulties, then the thing to do very quickly is to ask for a referral to a speech and language therapist for assessment and advice, and they are the experts in helping swallowing. In the meantime, you could try providing a drink with a straw while someone's eating, or quite obviously avoiding tougher chewy food and serving softer foods like soup, mashed potato, well-cooked vegetables and soft bread. But those quite obvious, but be aware of the dangers of swallowing difficulties. I've talked all the time about undernourishment, just a little bit about overeating or weight gain, which can be a problem for some people. And here I think it's the opposite to what I've just been saying. Replacing sweet or high-calorie foods with healthier alternatives. Encourage person to become more active if you can by taking walks. Storing food away from person's line of sight, and serving food in a portion rather than being. If we want to talk about weight gain later, we can do. It's a very quick, just some very quick ideas that we. Mouth care is vital. If someone's mouth or dentures don't fit, then eating is a problem. It is a problem for older people. It's importance of visiting the dentist. It's importance of brushing and helping people to brush, or even brushing for them. And there are films on the internet of helping how best to help someone clean their teeth. Saliva replacement can help with a dry mouth, and ask the dentist. I think we can't overemphasize the importance of oral health in maintaining food intake and diet, and something that I'm afraid often gets forgotten, and particularly that there are real problems. I don't know about the rest of Greater Manchester, but in Rochdale, where I worked for 3 years, it is almost impossible to get a dentist to go to a care home. And so there are real problems that are caused by that, about whether people can get to dentists. We recommend, if someone if you're having difficulties helping someone eat, then monitor. Tick off one of the cups every time someone has a drink, keeping a record of food and what, in particular, keeping a record of what went well. So you can actually repeat that rather than what goes badly. So just put it in there, say it is good to monitor what people receive. Also, don't forget, if you're caring for someone, one of the best things you can do is look after yourself. And I'm sure all the presentations that you've had have said the same thing. I hope so, that making sure your own appetite is up. And we have come across so many instances where people who have been caring for someone with dementia, who have perhaps have home care going in, are completely forgotten themselves and don't get the advice and don't get the help. So actually looking after yourself is one of the best things that you can do for someone that you're caring for. Coming to an end, one or two things which I can let you have all these links. We have an e-learning package which was designed by dietitians and speech and language therapists at Salford Royal Hospital. It covers both malnutrition and dysphagia. It covers more of the medical, perhaps a more medical bias and much more information. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to complete and is free. You can register for it at the paperweightarmband.org.uk. Our booklets, I don't know what that means. I should see Eat, Drink, Live Well booklets. Our booklets are available. You can see them all at the Age UK Salford website and just follow Improving Nutrition and Hydration. We have a whole range of booklets and posters and videos and other things that you can see there. I'll leave the last one for a minute because I'll come to that. NHS Choices, the NHS Live Well guide is one of the best guides to eating well, to balanced diet, to food information. Go to NHS UK / Live Well. It's the best. And Dementia UK leaflet on mouth care is available there. And for utensils, Alzheimer's. I just wanted to finish with this. This is a brilliant guide for family carers and friends to eating, drinking well with dementia. It covers a lot of what I've just been talking about, but a great deal more as well. It's available. We at Age UK Salford do still have some copies. So if you want a copy, you can either contact Emma and I'll tell her where they are. They're actually in the upstairs, the upstairs storeroom in Eccles, which is a nightmare to get them out of there. But we have got quite a few boxes left of them. That if you want one, I recommend, if you're caring for someone with dementia, if you're working with people with dementia, it's an essential guide. You can also download it from the Bournemouth University website. So that's available. I recommend it. That's all I wanted to say. It's ended quite abruptly, but never mind. I've just threw this out. What I'm interested in is hearing from you. What's worked for you in helping people you care for eat and drink, and what other help you think will be very useful for us. Thanks very much. Gosh.
Brilliant. Thank you, Martin. That was great. Are you all right to stop sharing?
Yeah. That's it.
Hey. Well, I would obviously encourage people to download that document rather than make me go up those stairs at Age UK Salford.
That's all right. I need to go up and get a couple of boxes soon. So
okay, fair enough. You know, I was just thinking, just while we've got a few questions in, but I just wanted to ask, what I've noticed is that as people get older, they need to go to the toilet more often, so they drink less. So you get stuck in that vicious circle of like, they drink less, so they get poorlier because they don't want to, they don't want to be, especially at night time, they'll be out of bed 5 times in the night going to the toilet. So I don't know if there's an answer, but just an observation.
One of the things we hear more than anything else is, I don't drink because I don't want to go to the toilet. And it happens particularly, I think we found, with people who are quite active. So don't drink before they go out because they don't know where the toilet is. One of the things that we know is that, and it's a bit counterintuitive, so people don't believe us, that you go to the toilet just as much if you don't drink than if you drink a reasonable amount. I've never got anyone to believe me, but it is true that if you are dehydrated, it doesn't stop you going to the toilet. It just means you don't do very much when you get there. But drinking, getting people, convincing people that they can drink a reasonable amount to keep them hydrated and not risk going to the toilet all the time. Some people don't drink after 5, 6 o'clock because they're worried about the night time. Actually, that's okay, provided they're drinking during the day. But yeah, it's a problem.
So it's a major lie that we need to break, isn't it? We need to get that out there, that like, just stopping drinking doesn't actually stop you going to the loo. So that feels like a real big thing.
Important. But people look at me and go, "No, you're mad."
The other thing on that was like, like a guide to what colour your wee should be.
Yeah, we have recently taken all references of that off our materials. We used to have it as quite there, check the colour of your wee. What we now know is that it's not a great guide. It can be a guide, but it can be influenced by all kinds of things, like what medication you're taking and things like that. So we don't use that as a guide anymore, although it can be an indication.
Right.
It's just not accurate enough.
Thank you. And Alison had just said, people who are on catheters, they're the same. They're not drinking enough because they're on a catheter.
I wish we could hear Alison tell us about what she did during Nutrition and Hydration Week this year. But she could tell you another time. Yeah.
That would be good, wouldn't it? Maybe we'll do a follow-on.
Yeah.
That would be good. Okay, so we've had
Yeah.
We're working to support at mealtimes and prepare the tables, as we found residents who live with dementia only seeing a brown table with plain tablecloth do not actually see the plates and food.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about food, and things like it's not the colour of the food as well. I'm sure Alison would tell us that if you have mashed potato and cauliflower and white fish, then it just becomes a white jumble. So it's important that you try to have contrasting colours of foods as well.
You know what, Martin and Alison, there's a function on this webinar that I've never dared do. Should we try it? So I can allow Alison to talk. You see what happens if I press that button? Oh my God, Alison comes on. I didn't know you were going to come on, Alison. I hope that's okay. Alison's like this, or my hair's all like this. Alison, can you hear us okay? Oh,
it didn't work.
It didn't work. Alison's like, oh my God, that was harsh. Maybe we'll give her a second. I'll tell you what, Alison, if you're really not happy with this, I'll turn it off. But in the meantime, let's ask a question and let's see if Alison can come on, because we can have that conversation. Right, Michelle said, hi, how to respond training was mentioned. Is this open to other organisations?
It depends where you are. At the moment, it's only available in Salford, Bury, Bolton and Trafford. However...
Bolton! She's in Bolton!
Right, okay. give Emma your email address. I'll pass it on to Marie, who's the manager in Bolton. However, if you're not in those boroughs, all our training materials are on our website. So all the information, everything you need to run a training course for yourself is available on the Age UK Salford website. It's just that we're not funded anymore to go out and directly work in those other boroughs.
Brilliant.
So go to Age UK Salford.
Okay. And Miriam's just put on, so she found with her mum that a clear plastic tumbler and a silicone straw has encouraged the mum to drink squash more. Yeah. And now she's just trying to work out something to do with tea just to encourage her mum to drink more tea.
Yeah, great. Coming up with these ideas is fantastic. It's what you need to do. You know, it's about trial and error and finding something that works.
Oh, and Alison said perhaps a different coloured cup. Yeah, and really thinking about the handle as well. So I've noticed with the people that I support with dementia, making sure, I mean, I'm going to show you this. This is a ridiculous cup. This is a massive glass here, but look how well I can hold that. I can put my whole hand through. So I know when I've got that cup, I'm definitely not going to drop it. So that makes a difference to me. And also, you know, not filling the cup too much. And just not and making sure that they're not worried about the temperature of the tea, because sometimes it's like it's too hot, then it's too cold, and then it's almost saying it's the right temperature now, you know, just to encourage someone to drink the tea. Because, you know, if you think about tea, there's a lot of things that could go wrong with a cup of tea. You could spill it, it might be overfilled, it might be too hot. There's so many things that could go wrong, whereas like a glass of squash, yeah, I'm okay with that. I know it's going to be what temperature it's going to be. With a cup of tea, I don't know what temperature it's going to be, and that's scary. Sorry, Martin, I jumped in there with something.
I can't remember what we were saying. The other thing I didn't mention, I'm sure, I don't know if all of you have come across it, is the wonderful jelly drops, which are now on the market, a little bit expensive. I'd love them to be available on prescription, but jelly drops were designed by two university chemistry students. One of them realised that his grandma, who had dementia, wouldn't eat any food and wouldn't drink, but would eat sweets all day. So he's designed sweets that are pure hydration, and that you eat that and they're very easy to pick up, very easy to eat. If you Google jelly drops, you'll find them. I just want more and more people to buy them so that the price will come down. They are a bit expensive at the moment.
I liked how you included like lollies in there, you know, like, you know, someone might not, they'll say, do you want a drink? No, but if you give them an ice lolly, they'll be really happy with an ice lolly or a jelly or a pudding or something or other. Oh, Alison says they make jelly cubes with a piece of fruit and use ice cube trays, which make it, it's small. You've basically made your own version, haven't you, Alison? That's nice.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper, yeah.
Cheaper, yeah.
That's a great idea. So yeah, just having using your ice cube tubs. Fantastic. Wonderful. Right, we've got 15 more minutes. So any more questions, any more conversation, let's do it now. So send it our way, please. Miriam had also said that dentures can be a nightmare. Mum no longer can use hers, so the dentist advised to leave them out as she can no longer understand to brush her teeth. And then and she uses an antibacterial mouthwash is used each night. Has anyone else found this at all? So just difficulties with dentures.
And it's important that dentures fit properly as well. That's the other thing. People's mouths do change over time. And getting new dentures that are fitted properly can often help in making them useful again.
Yeah, because I suppose once you take the dentures out, you're then limiting the type of food that you can eat. Okay. I think the contrasting plate is a real biggie, Martin. Yeah. Really, really. I've noticed that with people that, you know, they just, And there was one of our carers said that her mum she could eat half of a plate. She'd always leave half of a plate. She turned it round, she could eat the other half. So it was even down to, you know, sort of what her brain was understanding what was on that plate, that half of it, you know, that was enough. But if you turn the plate round, she would eat the other half. So there's a lot of trial and error, isn't there? Trying it out.
Yeah.
Michelle said, would it be possible to have some of the booklets which are in the attic? I'd love to give these out to carers, as the majority are not online.
When she says some, how many? I can make. The only reason I'm hesitating is I know that we had a lot, and I know that we keep going up to the attic to get them. So one day I'll have to find out how many there are. But I think there are enough. If someone wanted 10, 15 copies, that wouldn't be a problem.
Brilliant. I do sort of feel, Michelle, that Martin's going to go up to the loft and get them for you. So, because he's got to anyway.
The only person who's allowed up there is Dave Haynes, the chief executive. Dave goes up to get them. If I call Dave, he'll go up to the attic and get me some. That's what happens.
That's because Kath Walker, his PA, like looks after that space. Yeah. And if she knows anyone else is going up there, they get in trouble. Right. Oscar's said, is there any risk of choking with jelly drops?
No, because they dissolve so quickly in the mouth. And if you touch one, it is jelly. It's just it's jelly in a kind of a I don't know what the outer shell is, but it's something that dissolves very quickly.
Martin, take a deep breath. Michelle wants 20 copies.
Okay. Where is Michelle?
She's Bolton.
Oh, that's no problem.
So what we'll do, Michelle, I'll make sure that Martin's got your details. So I'll share your email with Martin, so he's got your contacts for after this.
Michelle, you'll get a call or an email from Marie Price, who's the Bolton manager, and she'll be in touch with you.
She's in West Orton.
That's fine.
Being very specific about where she is.
Yeah, but if you're at West Orton, that's not Bolton, you see.
Let's not start that one. Okay, so jelly would only need risk assessment if someone was prescribed thickened fluids.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I was also thinking we've got a bit of a risk here, you know, like if someone's diabetic.
Yeah.
So then we're looking at, I guess, sugar-free jellies, aren't we? And if you are diabetic, you know, I don't know, is that a risk for some of the things that we're recommending here?
I should have said something about diabetes. Yeah, if someone is diabetic, then to a certain extent, all bets are off. That if someone is diabetic and losing weight, then get to see the GP or the practice nurse as soon as possible. I have met a lot of older people who had been diagnosed as being diabetic, pre-diabetic, or high cholesterol, and been told to change their diet and have lost a lot of weight on the back of it. So I think that getting the balance right is something that the diabetes nurse would have to help with. We always say to someone who's diabetic, we can't deal with that. That's the GP.
Yeah. Oscar's just confirmed that jelly drops are sugar-free.
Yeah, they are.
And I suppose there are sugar-free jellies, sugar-free juice, you know, a lot of those things are sugar-free, but then that works on the hydration, but not necessarily on the malnutrition.
Yeah, no, it was important that the jelly drops were sugar-free.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give people a couple more minutes to drop us a comment, drop us a question, and then I will bring it to an end. If this is the natural end, this is the natural end. I won't keep pushing it. Just a thought for anyone. So we do maybe like a fortnightly webinar on here, and we look for researchers, practitioners, people with lived experience to come and share their story in a similar format to what we've done today with Martin. So if there is something that you want to share or you think would be useful for people affected by dementia and people working in this area, then, you know, just drop me an email and let me know. Okay. All right. I think that's it for everyone for today. I think we're going to have an early dart, Martin.
Okay, that's all right.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been really, really informative. There's loads in here. I'm going to pick a load out. I'm going to get it onto emails to carers this week as well, Martin. This will go onto YouTube. Oh, wait a minute. Is it? Oh, Michelle has just said. Oscar said, many thanks. Michelle said, been great. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. So thank you, Martin. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope that you all have very lovely, relaxing summers in a safe environment. And I was a bit worried that beer wasn't included in your hydration, Martin, but maybe that's a different webinar.
It's a different webinar, and you don't expect me to include beer, do you?
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.